Hello folks, Jonathan Milam here with a trumpet review. I've got a Bach Stradivarius 72 with the reversed lead pipe. Excellent horn. I like this. I've wanted to have one of these for a long time. Absolutely thrilled to have it. Want to discuss it, want to discuss the impact of the reversed lead pipe on the tone, the basic sound, size of the 72 bell in comparison to the 37 and the 43, which are your more popular, not the only options, but the more popular. But I want to get into playing right away as well. Just going to fiddle around with the old spiritual. I've got a mule. Her name is Sal, 50 miles on the Erie Canal. And so we'll get into that. I'm going to play with the Reeves 42C. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mouthpieces. Going to kind of work our way up a little bit to a little more shallow, down to a little bit more intimate sound. And then I'm going to compare it to a great reversed lead pipe horn, the Schilke B6, and also a standard lead pipe Strad. So you get to see the difference. Got lots of things we can hit today, and I'm going to enjoy every bit of it. Okay, starting off now, we'll give you the sound with the Reeves 42C. I hope you can hear that Bach tone coming through. There is something about a Strad. It's just such a strong, carrying tone, abbreviated slightly by this reversed lead pipe. But I think this horn has got a little more option in its presentation, if you please. Okay, before I switch to other horns, I'm going to move up slightly shallower. And of course, the 72 lightweight bell is revered as a great lead horn. This reverse lead pipe has a light body. And when you pick it up in comparison to a standard weight Strad, you can really feel the ounce difference, whatever it is, 2 or 3. It's a big deal over holding it for several hours a day, or even practicing for an hour or so. Definitely a lighter body. Valve casing, I think, is probably, not sure how they got rid of that weight, but they did. The bell, however, is the same. Again, this is the Reeves medium cup mouthpiece, which is definitely leaning towards commercial lead type. Not the shallowest, but a good, as the great Mike McGovern used to say, if you can find a good Reeves M, it's such a great mouthpiece. And we'll give you an idea what that would sound like. I've been using the Reeves 42C a couple of years now. Really interesting. It's completely got the silver plate wore off of it. Just a very small spot or two, but really love that mouthpiece. And haven't seriously played anything in a general mouthpiece type that's a rival to it until someone kept telling me, try Steve Patrick's mouthpiece. And this is a Patrick CR5Z. Excellent mouthpiece. Deep, almost as deep as a 7C. I think it's deeper than a 3C, but a 28 drill. So very interesting piece, but we'll try the Steve Patrick. It's the CR, which is Comfort Ram 5Z. neat mouthpiece. All right, throwing everything at you at the kitchen sink. Cobb salad. Somebody told me the reason they call it a Cobb salad is because it's got everything in it but the corn cob. Well, we're throwing everything at you we can. This is a Trent Austin. It's a TA3DS. Is 3D shallow just a little bit is what I believe that is. It's a neat mouthpiece. If you take a look at this, it's clear. It's Delrin, which is, I believe, a type of plastic. You know, for those of you that are really into technicalities, you might carve me up there. But the neat thing about this is it's extremely light, the cup is, and it warms up so quickly. You get your lips on it, and you can literally feel it coming up to body temp quite soon. It's summertime here, got the air conditioning on. So this thing's about 72 degrees. And as soon as you get your lips on it, literally within seconds, I could feel it warming up. Very, very comfortable feel. It's a little, it's not as the smooth, slick feeling of gold. I've always liked a gold rim. I kind of like a wet, slick feel. But boy, I'll tell you, that Delrin, completely different. It's not slick, but it's such a nice feel on your lips. Okay, moving on to more of a commercial, or excuse me, more of an orchestral sound. Still a Reeves, so I know you can't say it's completely orchestral, but this is his 42B, maybe somewhat similar to a Bach 5B, deep cup, wide throat, little larger drill. I think it's a 24. So for those of you that are orchestral, wondering, can I use the reversed lead pipe for orchestra? We'll let you be the judge. Can you hear that Strad sound? I can hear it coming through, not so strongly as I would with the standard, but still there, like the sound, but it's got a little easier blow to it because of the reversed lead pipe. All right, as I've said with this one before, you're in a small jazz group playing in a very small restaurant, and you're a little loud. What do? You use the Trent Austin TATF 24 drill, very, very deep cup. I heard at one point that Peter Pickett was making some mouthpieces for Trent when he started putting his product out. Really shouldn't say that, I'm not sure. But whoever made this mouthpiece was a master. The way it curves in, great piece. diminishes your sound, still enables your range, 24 drill, although it is a deep V. You can crack out your high C if you want to, but really takes the sharp edge off the playing. Okay, and the largest mouthpiece we're going to use is the Reeves C to J, very large trumpet flugel piece, extremely deep cup, 11 drill, big sound with a big bell like this. It ought to be gorgeous. If you haven't done it yet, this is where you can give me the thumbs up. Just kidding. Isn't that pretty? Isn't that pretty? Okay, now let's get compare it to a couple of other horns. Like I've said, I hear the Strad tone, which is a rather distinct tone. How similar is it? Now, I'm sorry I don't have another 72 standard body here. I do have a 43. Again, producing, since it's the standard lead pipe, somewhat of a strange or a standard sound. What'll I do? I'm going to go back to the large Reeves piece, the 42B deep cup 24 drill. And again, if you're looking for an orchestral sound, you might use something like this if you're a 5B, whatever. Again, this is a 43 standard weight Stradivarius. And back quickly to the reverse lead pipe. Standard weight Strad. And the reverse lead pipe again, lighter body. Someone please tell me, yes, that is the Strad sound, because I think it is. Okay, now, I'm sure most all of you know the difference between a standard weight Strad And the reverse lead pipe here, your lead pipe extends into the tuning slide. On your standard Strad, it's your tuning slide that extends into the lead pipe, okay? So what's the difference? The width of this, shallow, thin as the metal might be, is going to create somewhat of an obstruction when the air is coming down and it meets the end of the tuning slide here. Where with the reversed lead pipe, your air is coming quite a bit further until it reaches the inside of the tuning slide and it is funneled down into the bottom branch. Now, it does make for a more even blow. If you've ever had a very tight Strad, even though this is still a .459, 459 1/1000ths of an inch, is the bore size they're calling this, medium large. Still, you have a little more ease as you're going down, a little more uninterrupted flow, a longer flow before you have any conflict with your airflow. And as I said, the Strad company, Bach, they decided to make this body lighter. Even though the bell is the standard weight, the body itself is lighter. And it's noticeable. It's a few ounces difference at least. Okay, now, I think we still get a Strad sound out of the reverse lead pipe Strad. It is a slightly, how do I say it? The slots seem a little larger. A little easier to bend the notes is what I feel. Some people don't like the reversed lead pipe, and I will say I played this 43 standard lead pipe, standard Strad for some time, and then I got this lead pipe, and I was had to reach a little more carefully for the notes. I think it's really all about adaptation. If you're going to make a reverse lead pipe your horn, I don't think you're going to have problem finding notes. If you're a musician of caliber, I think your practice, your mouthpiece, your gap, all of those things you'll become accustomed to and get them honed down until it's working properly for you. I do like the blow of the reverse lead pipe. Certainly a little smoother, slightly more open feel to it. All right, we've got another great reverse lead pipe horn here. This is a Schilke B6. And I think the reverse lead pipe Strad strikes a good difference between the lighter Schilke and the heavier standard lead pipe type Strad. So I think you get a really good mix, the best of both worlds perhaps, of standard Strad and something much lighter, lead-oriented like a Schilke. Okay, what do we do? Well, why don't we stick with that same mouthpiece? It's the Reeves 42B. I'll play on the Schilke here. And then right away I'll go to the reverse lead pipe Strad. And the reverse lead pipe Strad, 72 bell. Not many people are going to be playing a Schilke B6 in a symphony. Maybe that wasn't the best mouthpiece choice, but it's sure fun checking them all out. Let me put in a slightly more lead-oriented mouthpiece. We'll go back to the Reeves M. Pretty shallow cup. I think it's a 27 drill, but fairly tight backbore, good commercial sound. We'll start off with the Schilke, which is, of course, reverse lead pipe, shares that with the Strad. Did you notice a little more core sound coming out of the Strad? Now, in relationship to this lighter Schilke, you'll really get the, oh, that's a Strad after all. Reverse lead pipe, but still get that Strad sound. Okay, shallower mouthpiece, the Reeves 42M with the Schilke. And to the Strad. All right, I should not do this, but I'm going to anyway. I got an old Super recently that was a older model, and it required that special, unusual cornet size. And TrumpetHerald.com is one of my favorite forums. So I put a shout out. I need a mouthpiece that fits the old type Olds cornet. And a guy said, I've got one by Greg Black, custom mouthpiece maker, great reputation. Again, I used to communicate some with Mike McGovern. And when he was talking about Greg Black, he said, he's got the hands. He's got the hands. Mike really liked the way he made a mouthpiece. This is a very unique piece. It was made for a fellow by the name of Janzak in the UK. Very thick rim. It's like a 30 drill. It's definitely tighter than a 29, even though the throat looks okay. So it is really a lead piece. And he sold it to me with an adapter that makes it fit trumpets. So I'll try that with the old standard Strad, and then we'll also use that with the 72. Say you're wondering if you can play lead with that Strad and see how it sounds. This is a 43, which is a jazz horn. You can use it as a lead horn, most certainly. This mouthpiece is a bit smaller than I like, so if I fail horribly, we'll blame it on the small diameter of the mouthpiece. And that's the Strad standard model with a 43 bell. Back to the 72 reverse lead pipe. Well, I'll be honest with you. I can't think of anything more to do. I've given you a pure, light lead pipe reversed horn in the Schilke B6 for comparison. We've pulled out a standard Strad. I've used how many mouthpieces? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mouthpieces. And I hope that gives you a thorough idea. Always wanted one of these reversed lead pipe Strads and just stumbled upon one a couple of days ago. Now this one I will say is a very special horn. It's had a little bit of dent work on the lower part of the bell. It's probably from the 90s, maybe late 80s, but probably from the 90s. And it is the possessor of a really, oh, can you see those little dots there? Anytime you're online and you're looking at a horn, if you see little circles on the lead pipe, that's not a good thing. Someone has shared some red rot with this horn. And I think the technical term is dezinkification. But if you're drinking a Coke while you're playing an instrument, that sugar gets in here and it starts attacking part of the brass, is my understanding. The zinc begins to be eaten away. Some people's saliva is just of a nature, acidic or what have you, that again, it just begins eating out. This one has got so many spots on it. Of course, I bought it, I played it and handled it and looked at it, and it was immediately apparent. Boy, I hadn't counted how many dots. First thing I did, I whipped the tuning slide off and stuck my hand in the end of the lead pipe and sucked. It's not leaking air, but if left unchecked in time, it certainly would. So if you do get a horn like this, you're going to have to really baby it. Make sure that you're using a lead pipe swab. I think Jason Harrelson one time wrote, if you pour isopropyl alcohol just down here, and what I do is I just leave the tuning slide in, pour isopropyl into the receiver area here, and then I get the little snake, the little brush, and just bring that alcohol up and down, make sure that it thoroughly cleans everything out. And then when I'm all done, just sometimes, in fact, what I'll do is I'll take the tuning slide off, and I've got that alcohol in there, and I'll cap it up like this and just run it back and forth so that it coats the whole area of the lead pipe before I finally pour it out. And sometimes you can just see the blackness if you haven't done that in a while. I think Jason Harrelson said, I won't say that. I really thought that was a great tip. Somebody I heard from once said, I don't clean my horn after using, but once a week I make sure that I hit it with alcohol. And again, if you've got a, some people's hands, the oil on them is just, it bites through a horn. If that's the case, you're going to have to clean a horn more often than the average person. If your saliva is acidic, or you like to suck down sweet tea while you're playing, you're going to really need to keep up with your horn, as someone did not here. At the time, what is this, 2021? August 20th, Charlie Melk sells a replacement lead pipe for this in lacquer for $185, I think it is, which is not bad at all. And that might have to be done. In fact, certainly, whenever it started leaking. I think I'll be keeping this for a little while. All right, I know I've gone on and on. Hope you've enjoyed it. We always try and give you lots of comparisons. If you're thinking about a horn, what would it sound like with the deep mouthpiece? What would it sound like for jazz? What would it sound like for orchestra? What would it sound like for lead? So we try and give that in the comparison of the horns. It does result in a somewhat lengthy vid. I hope it hasn't been wearing. Thanks as always. Love you to subscribe to our channel. I've got some great videos I've got coming out. I'm going to compare this to the Carroll Brass 5000 with a larger 72 bell. Which bell is biggest? You'll have to watch the video to find out. It's the Carroll Brass. It actually is a bigger bell. And then I've got another Carroll Brass 5000 lightweight with a 37 bell that I got in that I'm going to compare to the 5000 Carroll Brass with the larger bell. And I'm actually going to do a video where I take the Schilke and the traditional Strad and the Leadpipe-Reversed and do several different mouthpieces, different venues, trying to highlight the strong points of each horn. So we've got some neat things lined up. Oh, don't forget the thumbs up. Have a great day. Hope things are going well with you. If not, reach out. There are people that care around, and we are our brother's keeper. Have a great day. And as always, thanks for tuning in.